All right, Mr. W, thank you for taking the time to let me interview you. Again, this is for ASU. I am currently in the Masters of Educational Leadership program through there. I want to ask you some questions about the school, the community, and just get some thoughts from you. If at any time that you have any questions, please ask me. If you need to stop, please let me know also. I'm not going to refer to you as your name. I'm just going to call you Mr. W. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. So tell me about your background and your educational philosophy.
Well, I think every kid can learn. That's my educational philosophy. Everybody learns. There's different intelligences, and I really think that students learn hands-on, and I believe that you can teach kids with different learning abilities in the same classroom. You just have to be aware that kids learn at different, rates, different ways. Some kids learn hands-on, some kids are visual learners, some students are, verbal notes. So I think that comes from, over years of seeing kids learn, but also what you're taught in college. And the first question was my,
Tell me about your background.
oh, my background, I'm sorry, I should have done that first. My background is I have my undergraduate in natural resources and environmental management, was a park ranger interpretation for 5 years and a naturalist, and then I got into education, went to the LEAP program at NC State University, which is a licensure in education for ag professionals. Took that program while I was teaching, and this is my 25th year of teaching high school science or agriculture.
Right. So let's get back to the educational philosophy. If you were to describe that in one sentence, what would it be?
I would say I'd refer back to the FFA model, which is National FFA organization, which is learning to do, doing to learn.
Okay, learning to do, doing to learn. I like that. Now, does your philosophy, in your opinion, fit with the current school's mission statement and vision?
Yes.
Do you know what the current mission and vision
Yes, I do.
of the school is?
I do, because they told me the first day I would be able to pick it out multiple choice, but gosh, I don't know it right off my top of my head, I guess. The mission statement is basically a student-centered, high-quality education where students learn.
Do you believe the school models that day to day in all classes?
Well, I haven't been in all the classrooms, but I can tell you I've been in science wing and some of the math classes, and I think overall, I would say that most teachers that I've been around do a really good job, and they put forth that effort.
Have you seen teachers that don't model that mission?
I've seen a couple, but overall, most of them do.
What are your thoughts about those teachers who don't model the mission?
It's possible that they didn't learn the mission through a educational program, or sometimes they could be lazy, but I think, there's always going to be a couple that don't follow have the, passion to make sure every kid learns. Sometimes teachers,
Now,
get lazy.
with those teachers who don't model it, how do you go about helping them?
Oh, only if they ask for help. I mean, I don't think it's, I think that's gonna be the curriculum coach, the assistant principals, us teachers, like, especially down here where I'm at, they help each other out all the time, but there are some teachers that don't want any help or don't want to work with the group, and then they struggle a little bit more. So it's gonna be hard, like I wouldn't be able to do half of them because I currently do without the help of this other people in the earth science department. So you gotta be a team player.
So how do you think those students fare in those teachers who, as you put it, more lazy?
Well, they're gonna struggle. I mean, only your top students are going to be self-driven, and a lot of kids need the leader to show them the right way to do things, and there's definitely, they're gonna struggle, without the teacher being passionate about their subject matter. My favorite teachers were always the ones that were passionate about the subject matter and made the class fun per se, and made those connections. And Mr. Lopez always says, which one thing I really appreciate is he says, make those connections the first week. Because if you don't make the connections with the kids, and you say that too, make the connections with the kids, and then they're gonna wanna learn and they're gonna wanna do the subject matter if you don't make those connections. So make the connections, and then I think students are gonna be more open to learning.
Now, do you feel that here at the school we're meeting the needs of all students?
I believe most students' needs are met. I think there's some kids that are withdrawn. I think there are some students that maybe need I know we have CAVIT, but I think it would be neat if our school had more business vocational classes and more, maybe one class where kids can learn self-reliant living, like changing tires, changing oil, be able to jump a car, safety, just one class that the freshmen took, sort of like our pride class, but every kid took it where it was just like self-reliant living, how to set up, how to find clean water if you ever get, or what are some survival skills, here's a food that you could eat if something happened, or if your car broke down, here's how to jump your car, change a tire. Like, a lot of people leave school without those skills.
So, just kind of piggybacking off that, do you believe that the schools, just as a general population, not just this current school, should have more of the life skills classes?
Yes, absolutely. That's sewing. I mean, like, so many kids can't sew, and that, I think we're at the day and age where we should have classes where they're originally just male or female classes. Those should be, culinary class is a good example. Like, you go in a culinary class 25 years ago, when I would go in there, it would be all females, but nowadays it's mixed. It could be the same thing for this life skills class. It should be, every kid should know how to change a tire. Every kid should be able to sew and fix something. Every kid should be able to put a IKEA furniture together, because they're gonna have that happen to them. And I know people that are just like, I'm not gonna do it, and they have to pay somebody to put their bike together, and we just don't have kids that, but I think kids wanna know how to do that.
So what do you think has changed over the years that we've gone away from that?
Well, I think computers have been great, because you can watch a YouTube video to take the car and engine apart and put it back together, but then we become so reliant on the, computer, that we don't fix stuff like we used to. I think we need more fixers. We need more repair people. We need more Common Core to college. So I think that is the main thing, is the Common Core to college.
Now, when you say Common Core to college, are you meaning that we need to push more kids to college, or not push them to college and more vocational?
Well, I think we need to present them with, before, when I was in high school, we were just presented like, you have to go to college. But now I think we should present them with, being an air conditioning repair person or working as a mechanic can be very lucrative careers. And we should push them to, I guess, STEM, because there's so many STEM kids that are really good at science and technology, but they don't know about, hey, a lot of our houses are going to be powered by solar here soon. And we need to get people trained in that, not just designing them, but installing them is important too.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to kind of switch topics now, and then I'm going to ask you about some policies. So what are some policies that you feel need to be adjusted or changed here on campus?
Well, this one might be touchy, but this is off the record. I think our library is a wasted space because the library catalog system is, you can't go in there and do research. Like, there's not, if you go into most high schools, you can go catalog and get, your book that you need on computer repair or animals. It's just haphazardly thrown in there. And also, the same thing, I don't see computers set up in there for kids to be able to research and find a book. So we are, for some reason, that got left behind, and that's a common thing that every school should have for all classes. You should be able to go in there and do research, and our students are not doing research like they should.
Now, talking about the library, do you feel the kids even know what the Dewey Decimal System is?
No. I brought my class in there and I thought the kids were taught that, and I brought my kids in there, junior, senior level, and they were unable to locate a book based on the Dewey Decimal System because they didn't have it. And I feel that's a life skill and a skill. Books are gonna continue to be around. I know most books are on computers right now and stuff, but we're still gonna have books for the foreseeable future. And they're basically some really good books in the library, but kids can't find them.
Now, another question I have about the library. Is it actually a library or a media center?
I would say that it's more of a study area. I wouldn't even consider it too much of a media center because the students don't have some of the basic things that you would be able to have, like a student photocopier that you can put money into photocopy something for a class, like even if it just costs a nickel. There is no projection equipment to look at old newspapers. I know that might seem archaic, but we don't have computers that are standalones that students can use and look up stuff. It'd be really cool if we had a computer in there where it displayed today's, student of the month, teacher of the month, and then but it's displayed news from sports clubs, activities, how to join them. Some type of scrolling thing I've seen, like my last school was, I had that. They had one in what we call the Bronco Zone. It was like the Bronco Zone in the other school where it just displayed the athlete of the week or the athlete of the month, the student of the month. And I think that'd be a really cool thing to bring in.
Okay. Now, you talked about the library. What are some other areas that you think the school can improve?
Well, I think we definitely need to have the life skills class. I think that would be something that we could offer here that other schools don't have. I think that we do a great job with sports with the Pride program, but I really believe that we need to push the arts a little bit more, our competition. Other schools are pushing arts, and we don't even have we have a theater program now, but we don't have like a place for them to truly do plays. You know, it's a shared area, and it'd be nice if they built something like that. So I think to keep going where Post Street needs to go is they need to get a theater area, and they need to increase, I guess, their arts. But also, I'm more impressed with people that can have a life skill. Like, so many students that, you know, you feel that they are really bright, but they can't change their own tire, is something that, again, we're going back to the tire thing. Or they can't put an IKEA desk together, and then they have to pay somebody to do that after they graduate. You know, I'm talking even be able to do some common, change an outlet in the house, maybe hang a ceiling fan. I'd like to teach that class.
Okay. Well, what do you feel that the school is doing really good at, maybe even excelling in?
Oh, the Pride program we just got a call from Apache Junction that they heard about our Pride program and they want to do it. So if other schools are hearing about it, they don't have anything like it and their sports are really struggling. So the program they do with freshmen does a really good job. I think our STEM science program with Ms. Cully and Ms. Brown are really good, like better than other schools. I think that we do a pretty good job with arts too, like the ceramics class, and we have several art teachers that gives kids an area to go.
Okay. Now, you mentioned the Pride program a few times. Can you just elaborate on what that is?
The Pride program, the way I understand it, is it's a program for freshmen to have their practice in their several sports or one sport where they get to come in and have practice when they first get to school, so they don't have to worry about transportation. It also gives them a chance to do some strength training, which most of them never have done before, and it gives them the opportunity to compete against other freshmen. Sometimes it's intimidating for freshmen to go against sophomores, juniors, seniors who are just physically stronger and have more skill set. And I think it gives more kids a chance to stick into sports that wouldn't do it otherwise, because they wouldn't get the playing time, nor would they might be intimidated by the whole process.
Okay. So we have something for freshmen. What about sophomores, juniors, seniors? Do we have anything?
They have interscholatics for lifting weights, so they can continue with their sports later on, which is also, you know, I think a good thing. Yeah.
Would you like to see something like that with our theater program, like you mentioned earlier?
I think that would be good. I never thought about that, but we don't, maybe that's why, if we got that, but we'd have to get a theater or some type of area where they could, have practices separate and have a theater to perform in. So I think that would be something we would have to add for that to happen.
Okay.
I think we'd draw more students here if we had that, though.
I agree. Now, do you believe that the school is doing a good job building relationships with the community?
Well, yes. With sports, I think we've been very competitive with sports, and I think we've done a good job with that. I think, another program that I forgot to mention, I know I'm off right here, but our dance program does a really good job, because I've been to the performances in the gym, and they bring a lot of people in, and there's a lot of kids that choose to go to our school for the dance program. But to go back to that, and I see people from the community attend that, I think the one thing that school needs is increased commitment to the theater and band program. I was at a school in Indiana, and I even told them, this was like 10 years ago, they got rid of the band program. And I told the administration that this was a really bad idea, and they got rid of it, and then they realized how many students they lost. And you're not losing you know, every student's important, but you lost a lot of the kids that really were dedicated to the school functions and into performing, and so you lost the connection with the community. That would increase our connection with the community if we had a better, or I guess not better, it's just a more highly recognized, more highly funded theater program.
Have you talked to community members or school leadership about this?
Every year, at the end of the year, when we are allowed to put into the questionnaire what improvement we'd like to see, I always say something about the theater and about the library.
Okay. So what is something other than the survey that you feel that you personally could do to get people to start talking about possibly getting us a theater or getting more interest from the community itself?
Well, you know, I'm the basketball coach, so I do not believe, you know, I'll be hurt. I mean, I always support, like the Glee Club came down to my classroom today, and I support them with, you know, being a place to, you know, they come to basketball games and they perform. But you know, on that perspective, I mean, I support a chess playing on Thursdays, which I consider as arts, and I get an excellent turnout. So I think the interest is there, and the kids have a passion for it. We just need to give them a place to do it. Build it, and they will come.
Do you believe that the parents are involved in the school?
Yes, some, not a high amount compared to some other schools I've been to.
Just to throw it off the wall, what do you think the percentage is for parents who are actually involved?
Well, I don't know what you consider involvement. Define involvement. Are the ones that come to parent-teacher conferences, we have about 5%. Other schools, nobody, you know, a high school that usually drops off, we might have 20%, 15 to 20%. So, I mean, I saw a lot of parents at the kickoff days, the post-debut days, which is good. But then once we start having, it doesn't seem like the commitment level's there to check up on their kids and support the teachers throughout the year on parent-teacher conference days. So I don't know how we increase that, Mr.
So
Boyd.
you personally, in your classroom, how much communication do you have with parents? Do they reach out to you frequently, or is it the other way around where you're having to reach out to them?
If there's a major problem, then they communicate with me. Seldom do I get any communication with them other than the syllabus at the beginning of the year and if there's a problem. Yeah, that's about it.
How do you feel that just as a school and leadership can address that?
It's a good question.
Because we send out the Connect Ed emails once a week with upcoming events. Is there something else that you think we can do?
You know, I think the having a theater would help. Just with the band would have a better place to perform, and I think that would bring more people in. I think having a scrolling board like we do inside, but with video would help. We would also play that same scrolling board on like you could access it through our website. I think you'd have to put somebody in charge of it, but then that way they might go, oh wow, there's a Glee Club event, or there's a band event, or whatever. So I think the scrolling board in the Bronco zone would really be effective, just because I've seen it at another school and everybody surrounds it. You know, the displaying students' work, which we talked about today, was, I mean, I displayed the students' work, and one of the students went up and saw their own student work. Like, you know, they like to look at their work, but other people like to see who did a good job too, so.
That is true. Now, you talked about, you know, putting the scrolling board inside and you know, having it scroll all the time on the website. Now, on the website, you've been on it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is it, in your opinion, user-friendly, or is it kind of difficult if you don't know education?
I think it's a little difficult. Yeah, I think it's a little difficult. I don't think it's user-friendly.
Now, these next few questions are just going to be about you. Do you feel like you're making a difference here?
I'd like to think so.
How do you think you're making a difference?
I think I get kids a little bit more excited about the environment because, I mean, I actually recycle in the classroom, taking it back tonight. I actually, you know, they see that I like animals, and so we're displaying some animals, something hands-on for them to work with. I believe that, you know, my passion for the environment, it rubs off on them a little bit. So you never know, though. Sometimes the kids that you feel like you're making an impact, you're not making as much impact as the quiet ones, so that don't ever say anything.
All right. So, in a perfect world, if you could put one thing, just one thing, anything you could think of, into your perfect school, what would it be?
Wow, that's a good question.
Or take out.
Well, are you talking about like an actual product, or are you talking about like enthusiasm?
Anything you want. Perfect world.
Well, perfect world is everybody have a passion for learning. That's why I still teach. I love to learn. And take out, I guess, well, if everybody had a passion for learning, we wouldn't have to take anybody out. So, I would take out any type of, you know, negativity towards kids that get, you know, sometimes you see kids make fun of kids that have a passion for learning, or the ones that are excelling. Some of the kids, you know, peer pressure them. So I'd say negativity towards having a passion for learning.
Okay. All right. Final question. Do you feel that our school staff is a good representation of the diverse culture in this area?
It is definitely improving. From even when I first got here, we have more teachers that are, you know, I think we have more female teachers than male teachers, but I think we have several, you know, different cultures here compared to other schools I've been to. Poston is very diverse compared to other schools.
Okay. Well, again, Mr. W, thank you for your
Thank you.
time.
Thank you.
Just,
I enjoyed it.
just a reminder that this is for the ASU class. It's not going to be put on any kind of social media or anything. If you have any questions beyond this, please let me know. Other than that, do you have any questions for me right now?
I don't have any questions for you, but I really enjoyed having the opportunity.
Okay. So I am going to ask one more question. You are a science teacher.
Correct.
You teach earth science,
And environmental science.
environmental science. Is there any other subjects that you've taught in the past?
Yes, I've taught math, I've taught agriculture, and I taught geography. I'm certified in all those except for math.
What math was it?
8th grade geometry.
Eighth grade geometry.
It was for the students that were gifted and talented.
Okay.
It was I think it was a 9-week course. Excelled to give them.
What has been your most favorite course teaching ever?
Welding.
Welding is a great one. And it goes to the vocational.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, thank you again. I enjoyed this. And again, if you have any questions, let me know.
Thank you.